Could everyone please rise?
Please join me in a spirit of prayer. Holy wisdom, be present with us today in this commemorative gathering of shared public service and civic life. As we remember, we pray for those who lead. Guide their work and ground their decisions in justice, mercy, and humility. In moments of scarcity, may they lead with generosity, and in times of discord, may they search for peace. May their hearts be disquieted by the plight of those on the margins and attentive to the needs of the vulnerable. May their love for the people they serve be genuine. Bless the work of their hands, that it may lead to not only the flourishing of New Jersey's gardens, but to the flourishing and thriving of its people. Grant them leadership that models humility and power and purpose beyond titles. Strengthen their capacity to live with discomfort rather than reach for easy answers. And grant them the wisdom to do the work that carries us faithfully into the next 250 years, learning deeply from the first. We offer this blessing. So be it.
Thank you, Reverend Timms. Would everyone please remain standing as Majority Leader Louis Greenwald from the 6th Legislative District leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Majority Leader. Madam Clerk, have all the required notices been given in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act? Everyone could take their seat. Notice of the calendar for this session of the General Assembly having been sent to the members of the House, the Secretary of State, and the State House Press, and posted in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, I declare the House to be in session. Madam Clerk, would you please take a roll call?
Sure. Mr. Abdelaziz. Here. Mr. Angelosi. Here. Mr. Oth. Present. Mr. Azzaretti. Here. Ms. Bagoli. Mr. Bailey. Here. Mr. Barles. Here. Mr. Bergen. Mr. Bala. Here. Ms. Brennan. Here. Mr. Calabrese. Here. Ms. Carter. Present. Mr. Clifton. Here. Ms. Colasso-Gill. Mr. Coughlin.
Here.
Mr. Danielson. Here. Mr. D'Angelo. Mr. DePhillips. Here. Mr. DeMayo. Ms. Donlin. Here. Ms. Julis. Here. Ms. Dunn. Present. Mr. Egan. Here. Ms. Fantasia. Ms. Flynn. Here. Mr. Fryman. Here. Mr. Greenwald. Here. Mr. Guardian. Ms. Hayter. Here. Mr. Hutchinson. Present. Mr. Nganamort. Here. Ms. Kane. Here. Mr. Kenitra. Here. Mr. Karabinchak. Here. Ms. Katz. Here. Mr. King. Mr. Carney. Here. Mr. Kennedy. Here. Ms. Lopez. Mr. McCarty. Here. Mr. McClellan. Here. Ms. McCoy. Present. Mr. McGuckin. Mr. Miller. Here. Mr. Moen. Here. Ms. Morales. Here. Ms. Murphy. Here. Mr. Meyer. Present. Mr. Oyama. Ms. Park. Ms. Peter-Paul. Here. Mr. Peterson. Here. Ms. Pinter-Marin. Ms. Keano. Present. Ms. Reynolds-Jackson. Present. Mr. E. Rodriguez. Here. Mr. G. Rodriguez. Here. Ms. Rowan. Here. Mr. Rumpf. Mr. Sampson. Here. Mr. Sawicki. Here. Mr. Scheer. Mr. Schaffenberger. Mr. Schnall. Ms. Simons. Mr. Simonson. Mr. Singh.
Here.
Mr. Spearman.
Here.
Ms. Spates. Mr. Stanley.
Here.
Mr. Stewart. Ms. Swain. Ms. Sweeney. Ms. Tucker. Mr. Tully. Mr. Venetia. Mr. Varelli. Mr. Weinstein. Mr. Walker. Mr. Weber. Mr. Speaker, you have 65 members present. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We will dispense with the reading of the minutes. The chair recognizes Majority Leader Louis Greenwald, who moves that the reading of the minutes be waived. Second by Speaker Pro Tem Keano. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. It's now my privilege to introduce Princeton's president, Christopher Eisgruber, who would like to welcome us. Mr. President, please.
Lieutenant Governor Caldwell, Speaker Coughlin, members and staff of the New Jersey Assembly and Senate, and other honored dignitaries and guests, I'm delighted to welcome you to Princeton University. We gather this afternoon in Nassau Hall, where our nation's constitutional tradition has deep roots. The College of New Jersey, as we were called at our founding, was entirely housed within the walls of Nassau Hall. James Madison, often referred to as the father of the Constitution, lived and studied here. George Washington liberated Nassau Hall from the British during the Battle of Princeton, which is commemorated in this extraordinary Charles Wilson Peale painting that hangs in the hall. From June to November 1783, Princeton was the nation's capital and Nassau Hall the home of its government. It was in Nassau Hall that the first legislature of the state of New Jersey assembled and that the first governor of the state was inaugurated. We are honored to host the New Jersey Legislature today to commemorate the 250th anniversary of that first gathering. Over the past 250 years, Princeton University and the great state of New Jersey have grown together. From its modest beginning in this building, Princeton University has evolved into a great research university with a pervasive commitment to serve the nation and humanity. We've built world-class teaching and research facilities. We've invested in our students, making a Princeton education more affordable than ever, increasing the size of our student body, and we attract the brightest minds from this state and from around the world to teach, learn, and create new knowledge here in New Jersey. We have a strong commitment to cultivate a thriving regional ecosystem in and beyond Mercer County, and we are grateful for our partnerships and strong relationships with legislators from across this great state. For many of you, this may be your first time on Princeton's campus. I hope it is not your last. We look forward to working with all of you as we advance shared priorities in the years and decades to come. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, President Eisgruber. To all the members of the Senate who are here with us today, thank you. You didn't get introduced, but I know a number of you are here, so thank you for being with us today. To the members of the General Assembly, to our honored guests, and to all who have joined us today, it is a privilege to be with you, and welcome. It is both humbling and deeply meaningful to convene this commemorative meeting of the New Jersey Legislature here at Nassau Hall. It's great to be here, but really this is a special place. Princeton has always had an important role in the state of New Jersey. It's the intersection of intellect and public service. And for generations, it has helped cultivate talents and ideas that strengthen our state and our nation, an enduring partnership for which we are deeply grateful. Thank you very much. It is with that shared history in mind that being here today is particularly special. Today isn't simply a change in venue for us. It's a return home, a return to our beginnings, to the place where our legislature first met in 1776, at the dawn of a new and uncertain democracy. And, Mr. President, when you were talking about the leaders that were here in the past, it feels particularly humbling to be at a place where we were talking about Madison and Washington and all of those great leaders who were here. These walls have borne witness to moments that shaped not just New Jersey, but the nation. From the first meeting of our elected assembly, to the sessions of the Constitutional Congress, to leaders debating the future of a country that had yet to prove that it would survive. It was here and across this great state that New Jerseyans resisted tyranny and defied the crown. It was also here that civilian authority came to rest not in a king, but in the people. And it is that same spirit of resolve and responsibility that we gather here today to commemorate. As we mark the 250th anniversary of both our nation and our legislature, we're reminded that New Jersey has never been a bystander in history. We were at the crossroads of the Revolution. More revolutionary battles were fought in New Jersey than any other state in the Union. We were pivotal to battles that changed the trajectory of independence. And we were, and still are, home to innovators and thinkers who helped define American industry and intellect. We were the birthplace of the motion picture industry, a distinction we're actively trying to reclaim. And we continue to be a state that punches above its weight, economically, culturally, academically, and globally. There's a reason the words you see entering our state capital city ring true. What Trenton makes, the world takes. That phrase speaks not just to industry, but to influence, to the reality that what is built, debated, discovered, and decided in this state reaches beyond our borders. It's something that's alive in the institutions we serve and the responsibilities we carry forward. 2.5 centuries of courage and debate have brought us here today, each year defined by the same simple belief in building something lasting. What began here as a bold and enduring experiment rooted in liberty has remained a living promise to the people of New Jersey. It was imperfect, it was contested, and probably still will be forever. But the beauty is that what was a fierce debate has allowed for, that is precisely why we have endured. This is a legislature's return to Nassau Hall, reminding that the work of democracy is still ongoing. It didn't end in 1776. It just began. And it doesn't end with us. It continues in our chambers and in our committee rooms, in the thoughtful deliberation and the difficult conversations, which can be sometimes heated. We are, after all, from New Jersey. Our democracy continues in our stewardship and in our commitment to leaving this great experiment stronger for the generations that follow. As we gather here today, where it all began, we honor those who came before us. But more importantly, we accept the responsibility that rests with each of us. May this return renew our commitment. May it strengthen our sense of duty. And may it ensure that 250 years from now, those who gather in this place can say that we too rose to meet the moment. And with that, it's my great privilege to say to Nassau Hall and to the folks at Princeton, thank you. Thanks for having us back. It's good to be home. And now it is my privilege to introduce from the United Kingdom Consul General Oliver Christian. Consul Oliver. Yeah, you come up here.
Mr. President, Assembly Speaker, Senate President, Lieutenant Governor, members of the legislature, distinguished guests, everyone here in this hall. Thank you for the honor of joining you today to celebrate this momentous moment in history. As His Majesty's Consul General, a phrase that I'm really feeling quite palpably at the moment, let's talk less about revolutionary battles, more of friendship. It's a real privilege to speak here today in Nassau Hall, the original chamber of New Jersey Legislature, and a place deeply intertwined with the shared history of our nations. The honor of marking 250 years of this esteemed legislature it's in such a magnificent and historic setting is certainly not lost on me. In the last 2.5 centuries, the relationship between New Jersey and the United Kingdom has grown into a close, resilient, transatlantic partnership rooted in history, strengthened by our shared values, and made real through daily collaboration. Our economic connections are also exceptional. Over 39,000 New Jerseyans are employed by British companies. And that's something I'm really proud of, because my other role is Trade Commissioner, His Majesty's Trade Commissioner to North America. I'm proud because I see British companies being a part of the rich tapestry of this state, supporting people to strive, provide for their families, and live the American dream. Our goods in trade reached $12 billion last year, and the United Kingdom is New Jersey's third largest export market. These figures show clearly that ours is a modern, innovative, mutually prosperous partnership, touching every corner of this state, from life sciences, digital services, cleaner energy, advanced manufacturing, and research and education. Our cultural bond is also pretty vibrant. MetLife Stadium has become a favorite staging for Premier League clubs from the UK each summer. And in just a few months, tens of thousands of British and Scottish fans will descend here across New York, in particular New Jersey, for the World Cup. On the 27th of June, the England national team will take to the pitch in Meadowlands. And we hope's doing quite a lot of lifting there, that they, or perhaps even Scotland, will return on the 19th of July, ready to carry the trophy across the Atlantic back home. As I say, powerful thing, that word hope in football. Our musical exchanges are rich as well, from The Boss to the Beatles. New Jersey's legend, Bruce Springsteen, played his first international concert in London in November 1975, and the Beatles played in Atlantic City during their first American tour in 1964. And there's our historic connections, which run so deep. New Jersey takes its name from the glorious, beautiful island of Jersey in the English Channel. Today, sister city partnerships are abound, including Montclair with Barnet, which is where I am from. It's my hometown just in North London. Woodbury with Bury, and our respective Tewkesburys and Eveshams serve as reminders of centuries-old ties carried forward into the present. Mr. Speaker, your district includes the proprietary house in Perth, Amboy, the only remaining official royal governor's mansion in the original 13 colonies. Its last British governor, son William Franklin, was both the final crown governor of New Jersey and son of Benjamin Franklin. Few buildings, maybe this one included, capture the complexity and the intimacy of our early relationship so powerfully. And here at Princeton University, those links are everywhere. Nassau Hall honors King William III of Orange, just to my left, and Princeton's Revolutionary era President John Witherspoon, born in Scotland, educated in Edinburgh, was the only college president to sign the Declaration of Independence. He led this university while Nassau Hall was briefly served as the United States capital in 1783. Today, our economic partnership continues to thrive. Over the past decade, the United Kingdom government, through UK research and innovation, has invested over £130 million in joint research with Princeton across Earth ecosystems, engineering, physics, and so much more. And this year, 2 outstanding students from Princeton, Daniel Yu and Maya Bhutani, have been awarded the illustrious Marshall Scholarship from the United Kingdom, continuing that proud transatlantic tradition. Mr. Speaker, may I say something about the values that bind us? Freedom is a value right at the heart of America. But it is also at the heart of our special relationship, the special relationship between our nations. It binds us together in a shared history and our common future. And speaking about freedom here in the United States and in New Jersey carries a certain weight, because the foundations of American liberty were deeply shaped on British shores. The claim that all men are created equal echoes the principles of Magna Carta. The appeal of certain unalienable rights reflects the bold commitments of the 1688 English Bill of Rights. And the structure of American justice, common law, due process, habeas corpus, mirrors the traditions from the United Kingdom and England's evolving protections. And America has given back to the UK. We will never forget that when we stood against Nazi tyranny, the United States stood with us. And in the aftermath, they stood with us still. And we were the single largest recipients of the Marshall Plan and Aid Fund. This 250th anniversary of American independence is therefore not just an American story. It is our story as well. A shared heritage of liberty and freedom. This year offers powerful moments to reaffirm and renew our relationship, to celebrate those principles that bind us all, and to shape the future that we will build together. I invite you to join us in celebrating that story of freedom together, in honoring our shared values and helping write the next chapter of our partnership. So we celebrate 250 years of the New Jersey Legislature and 250 years of American independence. And we also celebrate one of history's most extraordinary reconciliations, from adversaries to the closest of allies. The special relationship is grounded in practical cooperation, in defense, in security, in trade and in investment, innovation, emerging technologies, and our shared commitment to peace, prosperity, and democratic values held by all of us here. New Jersey's motto, liberty and prosperity. What better way to capture what we all strive for together? And looking ahead, I'm confident that the United States of America will continue to lead the free world, and the United Kingdom will remain its close and most dependable partner. Together, we will uphold liberty and prosperity on both sides of the Atlantic for the next 250 years and all those years to come. Thank you. Many happy returns on this special commemoration. May God bless both our countries, and may God bless the great state of New Jersey.
Thank you, Mr. Consulate General. What a difference 250 years make, huh? I'm sure you can tell the King that the reception today was far more warm and embracing than it might have been the first time we were here. And thank you for sharing our shared heritages and our prospects for the future. And now it is my privilege to introduce the Lieutenant Governor and the Secretary of State, Lieutenant Governor Dale Caldwell.
Good afternoon. It is never good to follow a British accent. You already start off behind. And so I wanted to thank Assembly Speaker Coughlin and Senate President Scutari for their leadership. And I wanted to extend a special thanks to you and your staff for putting this together, this very, very special event. This is very special and kind of surreal. The president of Princeton and I were here at Princeton around the same time, 83 and 82, and we probably never thought we'd be here. The one thing we didn't mention, this is the #1 university in the United States of America for 15 years. And I also would like to recognize President Eisgruber for his wonderful stewardship of the university. As an alum, you've done just wonderful, wonderful things here, and your team has really made Princeton a very, very big part of the state of New Jersey, and we thank you so much for that. And so I'm honored to stand before you today in one of our nation's first capital cities, representing one of the oldest constitutional offices in New Jersey. In fact, we're here today recognizing the 250th year of the existence for the General Assembly, but also the office of the Secretary of State. While the policy portfolio may have changed in the last quarter of a millennia, the department is proudly home to two important divisions doing the essential work of preserving our stories, priceless records, and historic documents. In addition to expanding our understanding of the people and events that shaped our state and nation. With me today are Mr. Joseph Klett, Executive Director of the New Jersey State Archives, and Ms. Sarah Curitan, the Executive Director of the New Jersey Historical Commission. The State Archives is the official keeper of New Jersey's public records of enduring historical value. The State Historical Commission is dedicated to the advancement of public knowledge and preservation of New Jersey history. It was founded upon the belief that understanding our shared heritage is essential to sustaining cohesive and robust democracy. Joe will offer an overview of the early history of New Jersey with legislative highlights from the colonial and early statehood periods. Sarah will share more about how we will collectively mark the 250th in New Jersey. She has also brought the Revolution NJ traveling exhibit here this afternoon. I have a nice pen we have for everybody. And so as New Jersey's Secretary of State, professionally and a history buff personally, I'm thrilled to be overseeing Revolution NJ, New Jersey's official recognition of the semi-quincentennial. Say that 10 times. This year and beyond, the department is ready to work with our colleagues in state government, the legislature, local officials, and residents to recognize this important moment in our history and the progress we have made since. I look forward to partner with all of you in this important work. Thank you very much. God bless you.
This is what happens to an archivist when he gets old. He needs reading glasses. Oops. To the legislative leadership and Lieutenant Governor Caldwell, thank you for the opportunity to be part of your program today. Speaker Coughlin and a few other members have toured the State Archives vault with me. I would encourage all the members to do the same when you have a free afternoon. Call the Secretary of State's office and we'll set it up. I've been tasked with giving you a whirlwind history of early New Jersey. I'll do this with an eye toward the legislature as it has existed over the centuries, and constitutional and legal precedents during the colonial period and early statehood. In the interest of full disclosure, I will be also shamelessly plugging the state's documentary holdings at different junctures, in part through some old-fashioned show and tell. I couldn't bring the documents with me today, but I can give you some glimpses of them, so you'll know why you should come tour with us. Many of you know already that the place we call New Jersey was founded as a British province in June of 1664. The context of this was the Stuart family's return to power in England following a period of civil war, the execution of Charles I and the exile of his family, and a decade of parliamentary rule. Mr. Christian, correct me if I get any of the history wrong. After the eldest son, Charles, was asked by Parliament to return to London and take the throne as Charles II, he and his brother James, the Duke of York, set out to unify the English colonies along the eastern seaboard of North America. The obstacle was the colony of New Netherland. The Duke of York dispatched English warships under the command of Richard Nichols, who arrived in New Amsterdam harbor and secured the Dutch-held territory for England without a shot fired. In 2014, during the New Jersey's 350th anniversary, I was asked to write a blog spot about the founding of the province. I compared it to the HBO series Game of Thrones, noting that they both start with a beheading, spoiler alert. In both cases, the first seasons end with cross-dressing, and after that, in both worlds, hostilities commence against lions, wolves, and crows. I thought I was quite clever until I saw the first posting in response to my blog spot, which simply said, "I love New York." Or maybe it was "I love New York." But back to our own history. Richard Nichols, the Duke of York's commander and governor in America, had already left England before the Duke granted all the land between the Hudson and Delaware rivers to Berkeley and Carteret. The two noblemen were rewarded in this way because they had remained loyal to the Stuart family during the earlier period of civil war and parliamentary rule. In the Duke's grant, currently in the State Archives vault, he named the new province New Jersey after Carteret's home, the Isle of Jersey. Governor Nichols in New York, however, had no knowledge of this at the time of his arrival in America, when he authorized settlements across the Hudson in what we know to be New Jersey. He called the place Albania. The proprietary period lasted roughly 40 years, and by proprietary period I mean the time in which Berkeley and Carteret and their successors governed New Jersey, in addition to owning the land according to the British system. During that time, the province of New Jersey contained two separate colonies, East and West New Jersey. Elizabethtown, now the city of Elizabeth, was the original capital of the province. After the province line bisected New Jersey into East and West, the city of Burlington became the West New Jersey capital, and East Jersey subsequently relocated its seat of government to Perth Amboy. And this, from an original document in the State Archives, is the first page of the West New Jersey Assembly minutes of 1681, also at the State Archives. And I'm going to leave these on the table afterwards if anyone would like to see the detail of them. This is, well, I'll talk about that, but that's the earliest minutes of anything in New Jersey called the Assembly. In 1703, the proprietors of East and West Jersey surrendered governance to the Crown, and New Jersey became a royal colony with an assembly called and sometimes sent home by the royal governor. This page is from the first assembly of the royal colony, minutes from November 1703. Latin is sometimes used in New Jersey's earliest record books, which you might not have guessed. For example, Tuesday, if you can see it here, is referred to as Die Mercury. So the minutes show that the members were convening pursuant to His Excellency the Governor's writ. That's why he could send them home if he wasn't happy with what was happening. Just like now, the legislature during the colonial period tried to make New Jersey a better and safer place to live. Some of the threats to the pursuit of a happy life were a little different back then. In 1710, for example, a hot-button issue was the wild animals that threatened settlement and planting. The legislature found a solution by putting a bounty on the heads of wolves, panthers, or what we would call mountain lions, crows, and blackbirds, hence my Game of Thrones analogy. And this is the law, an act for destroying of wolves, panthers, crows, and blackbirds. One of the truly remarkable legislative items in the collections of the State Archives is the 1775 to 1776 Minute Book of the General Assembly. In it, the outgoing Loyalist clerk took great pains with a quill pen to recreate the Crown of England's coat of arms on his final page of minutes, essentially leaving the message, "God save the King," for posterity. This record book is so remarkable to me not just because of the exquisite and meticulous artwork using a quill pen, but also because the incoming Revolutionary Assembly clerk did not obliterate it. I use this during tours of the State Archives to illustrate how the American Revolution was very different than other revolutions we have seen around the world throughout history. Yes, it was a bloody war with great atrocities and deprivations. Yet it was also a political process that was even seamless in some ways. New Jersey's 1776 state constitution, which was essentially a declaration of independence from King George III, incorporated by reference all existing laws in effect at the time. Anarchy was not part of the equation. And I'm so glad Mr. Christian talked about what he did about the foundations of liberty going back to Magna Carta, because that's definitely part of what happened and why it happened the way that it did in America, because these citizens were proud of being Englishmen. They were proud of those liberties. And even in our state constitution, the final clause says, if a reconciliation comes between Great Britain and these colonies, this charter shall be null and void. So even then, they were still hoping for reconciliation. The reconciliation, you know, as you know, the 1776 Constitution established the General Assembly as we know it. At that time, the upper house, if I'm allowed to call it that, I know that's controversial, was called the Legislative Council. The state of New Jersey had two capitals then, still Perth Amboy and Burlington. It was not until years after the Revolutionary War ended in 1790 that the legislature made Trenton the state capital. During the war, it was not always safe or convenient to meet in the official capitals, so the legislature met at different locations, as well as the Constitutional Convention delegates. The 1776 Constitution was signed at Indian King Tavern in Haddonfield. And as you've heard from all of our speakers, I think the first joint meeting of the legislature under the state's new charter was held right here in Princeton in the college library room on Friday the 30th of August, 1776. And this is the minutes of that meeting, the first page of the minute book of the joint meeting of the legislature. And it talks about how it was held in the college library. And I'll point out, it says that they should proceed to the choice of a governor of the state pursuant to the constitution of government lately established. We went, during the period after the 1776 Constitution, it was the legislature that chose a governor for the year. This was obviously one of the real changes that occurred in 1776. We went from the governor convening the legislature to the legislature choosing the governor. Power was now in the hands of the people. Now, I just want to be clear to my boss, the newly elected lieutenant governor, that I don't mean to put any ideas in anyone's head, especially not so soon after the inauguration. Of course, the balance of governmental power in New Jersey has evolved over 250 years, just as it has at the federal level. Between 1776 and 1844, when the state passed its second constitution, power and civil rights shifted as well, and not always in a progressive direction. The legislature had to resolve the issues of slavery, for example, and voting rights. Both were complex social issues, even as we can see them more clearly and simply through our modern collective morality and sensibility. You may know that New Jersey's 1776 state constitution allowed women and free blacks to vote if they had 50 pounds to their name. But did you know that this meant qualified women could vote at 18, while qualified men could not vote until 21? In 1804, the legislature passed an act for the gradual abolition of slavery. In 1807, it passed an act amending the state constitution, which in itself was questionable because the Constitution really didn't have a mechanism to amend itself. They restricted the right to vote to adult white males who met the property requirement. So that's why I say things can go back and forth throughout history, and obviously legislation changes and state constitutions come and go. These are the first 2 pages of the first Senate Journal. The members are listed, one for each county, on the second page. Now, this is after the 1844 Constitution, which changed the Legislative Council to the Senate. And there were only 19 members because there were only 19 counties at the time. Ocean and Union had not been established yet. And this record documents some of the first nominations received by the Senate for confirmation: judges, the Attorney General, and county prosecutors. I'll end my whirlwind history of New Jersey here, and I hope it has been of interest and that I have succeeded in giving you a hint of the rich documentary heritage the State Archives holds for our great state. During this exciting year for those of us in the history world, the State Archives will be unveiling 2 major exhibits, one in our building in a gallery that we hope to open soon to the public, and another in April of this year at the State Museum, and that will be, maybe this isn't the proper term to use, but it's going to be our blowout. This is all of the big charter documents will be on display, and we do hope that you'll come and see. We'll be announcing an opening in probably the 3rd week of April, and we hope the legislative members will come out. Thank you.
Well, let me begin by thanking our Lieutenant Governor Caldwell, Senate President Scutari, and of course Speaker Coughlin, and all the members of the New Jersey State Legislature for the invitation to join you this day, and most importantly, for taking this time to reflect on the world-changing events of 250 years ago and New Jersey's central role in them. Now, I'm honored to add a few words about some of the issues and great movements that have shaped New Jersey over the past 250 years, and how we are commemorating and celebrating that rich, diverse history through Revolution NJ, our official state initiative for this anniversary. Now, in 2018, this body wisely passed legislation directing the New Jersey Historical Commission, and now our nonprofit partner, Crossroads of the American Revolution, to formulate and implement a program for the observance of the historical aspects of the 250th anniversary of the independence of the United States and of the first Constitution of this state. We have been laser focused on these preparations ever since, and one of the many tasks we undertook was to identify some larger themes in state and national history that we and partner organizations around the state could explore during this commemorative period. Now, the most challenging part of this exercise was picking which themes to exclude, because New Jersey's history is truly a microcosm of our larger national story. For example, This land has been inhabited by indigenous peoples for over 10,000 years. European settlers began arriving in the 17th century, including Dutch, Swedish, English, and later many, many more. Europeans also brought with them enslaved and free Africans. So while we know New Jersey is a state with a highly diverse population today, British troops arriving on our shores 250 years ago would also have found a great variety of peoples living here as the Revolution began. Now, New Jersey is also a state of industry and innovation. None other than Alexander Hamilton helped establish the first planned industrial city in Paterson. Trenton became known as the Staffordshire of America. Glass-making factories thrived in South Jersey, and the Stevens family helped make the state a transportation hub, building steamboats, steam ferries, and the Camden and Amboy Railroad. Our history of innovation then exploded during the 20th century. Thomas Edison continued to roll out new technologies, building upon his staggering output of the 19th century. Innovations in mining, batteries, phonograph technology, and motion pictures were born from his laboratory in West Orange. The American film industry took root in Fort Lee, and the Radio Corporation of America, better known as RCA, led the world in the development of radio and television. Perhaps most significantly, the transistor was developed at Bell Labs, literally transforming the way the world communicates. Now, New Jersey's history also reflects the most troubling aspects of our national story. The institution of slavery could be found here, most prominently in East, or what we now know as North Jersey. By 1800, the enslaved African-American population reached a peak of over 12,000 persons. As my colleague Joe has already noted, the gradual Emancipation Act of 1804 eventually brought freedom to many. By 1820, free blacks outnumbered enslaved for the first time. Yet the law required those born to enslaved parents after July 4th, 1804, to remain in service to their mothers enslavers for 21 years for girls and 25 years for boys. But our state history also includes many examples of the larger national movements toward equality and justice. New Jersey's Thomas Mundy Peterson was the first black man to cast a vote after the passage of the 15th Amendment. Alice Paul, who grew up in Mount Laurel, was a leader in the fight to pass the 19th Amendment, an effort that succeeded, and she was also an author of the Equal Rights Amendment, a cause she championed until her death in 1977. But this anniversary also gives us a once-in-a-generation opportunity to highlight for residents and visitors the indispensable role that New Jersey played during the American Revolution. As Speaker Coughlin mentioned, more battles and skirmishes took place here than in any of the other 13 colonies, then states. Washington spent 25% of his time here during the war and led the pivotal battles at Trenton, Princeton, and Monmouth. Visitors will be able to visit these remarkable sites now and many more, over dozens and dozens of great historic sites related to the American Revolution right here in New Jersey, now and in the years to come. So the American quest for liberty, equality, and justice is clearly illustrated in our state history, and Revolution NJ will be highlighting these themes throughout the 8-year commemoration of the war. I want to encourage you all to visit revnj.org to learn more about our traveling exhibition, currently touring the state, our school programs, our award-winning tavern talks, our 5K race series, and trust me, much, much more, a lot of which is happening in the communities that you all represent. So now more than ever, teaching, exploring, and truly enjoying our history is an essential tool for engaged citizens and vibrant communities. We at Revolution NJ are so eager to be on this journey with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Sarah, for that. What do you say we do some legislating? Resolution on a clerk's desk.
On third reading and final passage, Assembly Resolution 250, an act which provides for the New Jersey General Assembly to hold a special commemorative session at Princeton University on February 5th, 2026. Whereas the state of New Jersey declared its independence from Great Britain and established a system of self-government upon its adoption of the first state constitution in July 1776. And whereas the residents of the state promptly embraced this new form of government, holding elections for members of the Legislative Council, the precursor to the modern-day state Senate and General Assembly just a few weeks later. And whereas the elected legislators met in Princeton, New Jersey, and held the very first meeting of the General Assembly at Nassau Hall at Princeton University in August 1776. And whereas the first legislative session, held throughout the remainder of 1776, sought to stabilize the new state, select the first governor, address the ongoing revolution, and chart a path towards a prosperous future in New Jersey. And whereas the foundation laid by the members of the first legislature 250 years ago, and all those elected officials and public servants who came after, have given rise to one of the strongest, most diverse, and well-educated states in the United States. And whereas the success can, in large part, be attributed to the presence of premier educational institutions, such as Princeton University, and their close and continual relationship with the state. And whereas Princeton University, in particular, has been an instrumental partner from the first meeting of the General Assembly held at Princeton in 1776 to the 21st century projects like the New Jersey Artificial Intelligence Hub. And whereas as a national model for intelligence in education and innovation, Princeton brings both investment and acclaim to New Jersey, creating countless opportunities for the citizens of this great state and molding leaders of the past, present, and future. And whereas thousands of Princeton alumni have gone on to serve in various roles across the state and local government, including the state legislature, and 11 have served as governor of the state. And whereas it has been always and will always be in the best interest of New Jersey for the state and its particular institutions to cultivate the world's brightest minds and most dedicated public servants right here at home. And whereas by returning to Princeton, where our collective history began 2.5 centuries ago, we may reflect upon the past and reaffirm our commitment to ensuring liberty and prosperity in the state of New Jersey for the next 250 years. And whereas it is both proper and fitting that the General Assembly marks the 250th anniversary of the first meeting of the state legislature by holding a special commemorative session on the Princeton University campus on February 5th, 2026. Now therefore be it resolved by the General Assembly of the state of New Jersey that the Assembly shall hold a special commemorative session at Nassau Hall on the campus of Princeton University in Princeton, Mercer County, on February 5th, 2026. The Speaker of the General Assembly or the Speaker's designee shall authorize to undertake such arrangements as may be necessary to facilitate this special commemorative session.
Majority Leader Greenwald moves the resolution. Madam Clerk, please, may we have a roll call on the motion?
Sure.
Or on the resolution, I should say.
Mr. Abdelaziz. Yes. Mr. Angelosi. Yes. Mr. Alt. Yes. Mr. Azariti. Yes. Ms. Magoli. Yes. Mr. Bailey. Yes. Mr. Bartless. Yes. Mr. Bergen. Mr. Bala. Yes. Ms. Brennan. Yes. Mr. Calabrese. Yes. Ms. Carter. Aye. Mr. Clifton. Yes. Ms. Colasso-Gill. Mr. Coughlin.
Yes.
Mr. Danielson. Yes. Mr. D'Angelo. Yes. Mr. DePhillips. Yes. Mr. DeMayo. Ms. Donlin. Yes. Ms. Drulis. Yes. Ms. Dunn. Yes. Mr. Egan. Yes. Ms. Fantasia. Ms. Flynn. Mr. Fryman. Mr. Greenwald. Mr. Guardian. Ms. Hayter. Mr. Hutchinson. Mr. Nganamort. Ms. Kane. Mr. Kenitra. Mr. Karabinchak. Ms. Katz. Mr. King. Mr. Carney. Mr. Kennedy. Ms. Lopez. Mr. McCarthy. Mr. McClellan. Ms. McCoy. Mr. McGuckin. Mr. Miller. Mr. Moen. Ms. Morales. Ms. Murphy. Mr. Meyer, sorry. Mr. Oyama, sorry. Ms. Park. Ms. Peter Paul. Mr. Peterson. Ms. Pinter Marin. Ms. Keano. Ms. Reynolds Jackson. Mr. E. Rodriguez. Mr. G. Rodriguez. Ms. Rowan. Mr. Rumpf. Mr. Sampson. Mr. Zawicki. Mr. Scher. Mr. Schaffenberger. Mr. Schnall. Ms. Simmons. Mr. Simonson. Mr. Singh. Mr. Spearman. Ms. Spates. Mr. Stanley. Mr. Stewart. Ms. Swain. Ms. Sweeney. Mr. Tucker, Ms. Tucker. Mr. Tully. Mr. Venetia. Mr. Varelli. Mr. Weinstein. Mr. Walker. Mr. Weber. Mr. Speaker, AR 250 has received 67 votes in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, and 0 abstentions.
I declare the resolution passed. Let the resolution take the usual course of past resolutions. For all of you who could not previously name all of the members of the General Assembly, we have 9 more resolutions, after which we will have a quiz to see who knows it, who knows the best, who's been paying the most attention. Resolution on the clerk's desk.
Resolution commemorating the 280th anniversary of the founding of Princeton University.
Assemblyman Fryman. Sure.
An Assembly resolution commemorating the 280th anniversary of the founding of Princeton University. Whereas Princeton University was founded in 1746, beginning a tradition of excellence that continues today. And whereas over 280-year history, Princeton has served as a bastion for free and critical thought, leading to numerous breakthroughs for the betterment of humankind. And whereas Princeton has earned global renown as preeminent teaching and research institution, consistently ranked amongst the top university in the world with more than 30 academic study concentrations and faculty, students, and alumni responsible for groundbreaking research in engineering, applied sciences, the humanities, natural sciences, and social sciences. And whereas the result of these academic and research achievements, dozens of Princeton faculty, alumni, and students have been awarded the Nobel Prize, the Turing Award, Fields Medal, and other prestigious honors in their respective fields. And whereas the achievements and contributions made by Princeton, its faculty, students, and alumni extend beyond academia and into the realm of public service, as the university has played a significant role in the history of this state and the United States. And whereas Princeton University's history of service dates back to the then president of the university, John Witherspoon, signing the Declaration of Independence in 1776. And whereas that same year, the university hosted the first session of the New Jersey State Legislature at historic Nassau Hall between August and October of 1776. And whereas the university later hosted a meeting of the Continental Congress, while Princeton served as the temporary United States capital. And whereas Princeton alumni have carried on this legacy of public service in the years since its founding, with 2 having been elected President of the United States and a dozen appointed to United States Supreme Court, including 3 current justices. And whereas 11 alumni have gone on to serve as governor of this state, and every governor of this state has, for the last 250 years, served as a trustee of the university. And whereas thousands of Princeton Tigers have dedicated themselves to service locally, tackling challenges across New Jersey in various state and local government roles, including the state legislature. And whereas each year, thousands more faculty, staff, and students volunteer in communities throughout the state and surrounding region. And whereas the impact of Princeton University and its faculty, students, and alumni has undeniably made the world, the country, and this state more prosperous place. And whereas altogether fitting and proper that the General Assembly commemorates the 280th anniversary of the founding of Princeton University and recognizes the importance of continuing a close and mutually beneficial relationship between the university and the state well into the future. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the General Assembly of the State of New Jersey that the General Assembly commemorates the 280th anniversary of the founding of Princeton University and the university's continuous partnership with and the contributions made to the state of New Jersey. Congratulations.
All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Thank you, Assemblyman Fryman. Thank you, President Eisgruber. All right, we're going to redo this a little bit. So I'm going to ask the members who are reading the resolution to read them from down there. We're going to give you the resolution. The recipient can come up and do this rather than do this. Okay. Resolution on the clerk's desk.
Resolution honoring the New Jersey National Guard.
Assemblyman Barlas and Assemblyman Arizidi. Would you read them from right there? And we'll get you the. Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. An Assembly resolution honoring the New Jersey National Guard. Whereas the men and women of the New Jersey National Guard have honorably served the people of this state since it was a colony, tracing their lineage to the unification of the provinces of East and West Jersey, and the signing of the first Militia Act in 1704. And whereas for more than 300 years of history, members of the New Jersey National Guard and the state militia, a direct predecessor, have served in every major conflict at home and abroad. And whereas in the throes of the Revolutionary War, the state's militia provided security and stability across New Jersey, combating local Tories and British loyalists, Council General, while also providing support to the Continental Army under the command of General George Washington in battles at Trenton and Princeton. And whereas, when the Civil War broke out in 1860, the New Jerseyans overwhelmingly responded to President Lincoln's call to action, sending the first full brigade of militia to defend Washington, D.C., and ultimately committing more than 70,000 New Jerseyans to the fight for freedom. And whereas, following the war in 1869, the state enacted a critical new piece of legislation to recognize and consolidate the militia and the New Jersey Rifle Corps into what is now known as the New Jersey National Guard, forming a more modern state-based fighting force. And whereas, through this reformation, the state incorporated African American men into the state's fighting force for the first time, establishing a regular training schedule and better positioned the National Guard for the conflicts that lay ahead. And whereas, these reforms paid dividends when President Woodrow Wilson federalized New Jersey National Guard units and deployed them to the front lines in France during World War I, demonstrating that the Guardsmen were prepared for combat wherever and whenever called upon. And
whereas the New Jersey National Guard further demonstrated their capability and determination when multiple units were deployed to combat tyranny in Europe during World War II, including the 102nd Cavalry, which landed at Omaha Beach on D-Day +2 and was instrumental in the liberation of Paris. And whereas in 1948, the New Jersey National Guard made history in another sense when, following the adoption of a new state constitution, which expressly prohibited discrimination in military and civilian life, the New Jersey National Guard became the first federally recognized military component to integrate. And whereas in the years since, men and women of all backgrounds have joined the New Jersey National Guard and served honorably in every modern conflict from Korea and Vietnam to Iraq and Afghanistan. And whereas these service members also have dedicated themselves to the betterment of their state and local communities, providing relief and emergency response in recent crises, including Hurricane Sandy and the COVID-19 pandemic. And whereas today, more than 8,000 New Jerseyans serve in the National Guard, hailing from all parts of the state and all manner of backgrounds, united in service and sacrifice, and the knowledge that they carry forth a tradition of honor and duty more than 3 centuries in the making. And whereas the General Assembly recognizes the service of these brave soldiers and the sacrifices they and their families have made, acknowledges the great debt of gratitude each resident of this state owes to these outstanding men and women, and honors them for courageous and exemplary service. Now therefore be it resolved by the General Assembly of the State of New Jersey, the General Assembly honors the legacy of the New Jersey National Guard and expresses its deep and profound gratitude to all New Jerseyans who have served in this state and the United States in the National Guard.
The resolution will be Adjutant General and Brigadier General Yvonne Mays. General. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Resolution on the clerk's desk.
Resolution honoring the history and service of USS New Jersey.
Assemblyman Moen and Assemblywoman Kane, if you would. I will note Assemblywoman Kane is a Gold Star mother. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. An Assembly resolution honoring the history and service of the USS New Jersey. Whereas in the history of the United States Navy, several battleships have been bestowed the honor of the name USS New Jersey, and whereas the first naval ship to be named for the great state of New Jersey was a Virginia-class battleship built and commissioned by the Navy 100 years ago in 1906, and whereas the original USS New Jersey was given the privilege of joining President Theodore Roosevelt's Great White Fleet as it sailed around the world between 1907 and 1909 in order to promote diplomacy and project American strength at sea. And whereas the ship served as a training ground for service members joining the Navy during World War I and made 4 transatlantic voyages to bring heroic veterans home from Europe after the war ended, before being decommissioned in 1920. And whereas the second naval ship to be named the USS New Jersey, now known as the Battleship New Jersey, was built at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard and launched on December 7th, 1942, just 1 year after the attack on Pearl Harbor. And whereas the Battleship New Jersey would go on to become the most decorated battleship in American history, receiving 9 battle stars for service in World War II, 4 battle stars for service in the Korean War, 3 battle stars for service in the Vietnam War, 1 campaign star for service in the Armed Forces Expedition in Lebanon, and 2 campaign stars for service in the Persian Gulf before being decommissioned in 1901. And
whereas in 2001, the Battleship New Jersey was opened to the public as a museum and memorial based in Camden, New Jersey, ensuring that it continues to inform and inspire the service of future generations. And whereas the state of New Jersey recognized the legacy of the Battleship New Jersey by naming it the state ship in 2017. And whereas in September 2024, the Navy again saw fit to have New Jersey amongst its ranks when it commissioned a Virginia-class nuclear-powered fast attack submarine to be named USS New Jersey. And whereas the latest iteration of the USS New Jersey bears an outline of the state and is inscribed with the Latin phrase, Virtute Ignis Pro Libertas, meaning firepower for freedom. And whereas these symbols, taken together, carry forth the message that New Jerseyans have always and will always stand ready to defend freedom wherever and whenever called upon. And whereas it is fitting and proper for the General Assembly to recognize this profound and continuing legacy and to honor all the service members who have ever served the cause of freedom aboard the USS New Jersey. Now, therefore,
be it resolved by the General Assembly of the State of New Jersey, the General Assembly honors the history and service of the USS New Jersey and expresses its sincere gratitude to the men and women who have honorably served aboard any of the 3 ships named after this great state.
copies of this resolution as filed with the state, Secretary of the State, shall be transmitted by the Clerk of the General Assembly to the Secretary of the United States Navy and to the Chief Executive Officer of the Battleship New Jersey.
Receiving the resolution will be Captain Steve Hawley and Deputy Executive Director of the Battleship New Jersey, Juliana Dodds. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Do you want to say something? Yeah.
Just wanted to, the program didn't really highlight Julie's tie to really the USS New Jersey and the Navy, so I just wanted to highlight that briefly. When you think Navy, U.S. Navy, you think Julie Dodds. She has 3 of her children who are alumni of the United States Naval Academy serving this great country. Her son, Matthew Dodds, served on board USS New Jersey with me in the wardroom, and she now does a lot of the heavy lifting with the battleship, and she was also a huge supporting member on the committee that actually commissioned the ship. So our commissioning in Weapons Station Earl would not have happened without Julie Dodds. So I just really wanted to start with a quick round of applause for Julie. Good afternoon, and thank you for letting me speak really briefly. Lieutenant Governor, Mr. Speaker, and everyone who is here today, distinguished guests. Really appreciate that you gave me a moment to just really express my thanks as the Plank Owner Commanding Officer. You know, we stand here today at a moment of profound history, crossroads where we celebrate 250 years of New Jersey's spirit and the unwavering strength of our U.S. Navy, and the enduring promise of our independence as a nation. So after 26 years at the tail end of my service, I had the privilege of commissioning the newest USS New Jersey, SSN 796, and as we already heard, is named after the Garden State, and it's a Virginia-class attack submarine. And during my time as commanding officer, I had the privilege to learn about the rich history of the state and the heritage of the battleships that wore the name BB-16 and BB-62. We already heard that BB-16 was obviously the workhorse of the White Fleet, and then on December 7th, 1942, exactly 1 year after the smoke cleared from Pearl Harbor, the magnificent Big J was launched. And at the time, it was the beacon of American resolve. She didn't just support World War II, she became a legendary flagship to the New Jersey's own Admiral Bull Halsey, leading the charge across the Pacific. And it didn't take long for that New Jersey fighting spirit to earn her crew 19 battle stars, a Navy Unit Commendation Medal, and other accolades that was across 6 major campaigns. And she's proudly the most decorated battleship of all time. Today, that legacy of grit, glory continues in Camden. Moored on the Delaware River, she's not just a museum, she's a cathedral of courage. She's a place where the middle schoolers can find a hero and a place where my sailors, the new generations, including my own crew, find the heritage that will carry forward. That legacy is what is a charge to all of us. I'm extremely proud of the overwhelming support that the state has continued to provide. The commissioning in Weapons Station Earl in 2024 brought nearly 5,000 patriots on that pier, including many legislators in this chamber today. They were able to witness that momentous occasion of both the U.S. Navy and the New Jersey. It also allowed me, as the CO, to get the torch passed from the last commanding officer of the battleship, Admiral Tucker, as he was on the pier and presented that to the crew. So now the USS New Jersey, carrying the fighting spirit of her predecessor, is preparing for her first deployment. She is a silent guardian of the deep. She's a sentinel of our freedom and ready to take the fight to those who challenge our resolve. This is the next chapter in New Jersey's naval history. It's a chapter built on nuclear power and advanced system, but it's guided by the same unswerving, unwavering spirit that earned the Big J, that is 19 battle stars. From Elizabeth, which is the birthplace of the submarine force. So I know, Mr. Speaker, you said you don't have the birthplace of the motion picture, but you certainly have the birthplace of the United States submarine force in Elizabeth. To the banks of the Delaware, where the battleship stands watch, the legacy of the Garden State remains steadfast and strong. So I'm profoundly humbled by this rich history. I'm inspired by the hard work that the General Assembly, you have all done every day to make our state better. I'm deeply thankful for the recognition of those ships and proudly carry the name USS New Jersey. So let's honor their service by continuing to build a New Jersey and a nation worth of their sacrifice. Thank you.
Resolution on the clerk's desk.
Resolution celebrating the role of Princeton in the American Revolution.
Assemblywoman Drulis. Mayor, come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and welcome everyone to the 16th Legislative District. An Assembly resolution celebrating the role of Princeton in the American Revolution. Whereas Princeton, New Jersey was the epicenter of both conflict and accomplishment throughout the American Revolution, and whereas Princeton notably served as home to two signers of the Declaration of Independence, John Witherspoon, the president of the College of New Jersey, now known as Princeton University, and Richard Stockton, a prominent lawyer from whom Stockton University was named. Whereas, in the war followed the Declaration, New Jersey would become known as the crossroads of the American Revolution. And whereas the town of Princeton might rightly be known as the crossroads of New Jersey, since it was situated halfway along the main post road that connected New York City and Philadelphia, and thus saw most constant occupation and distribution during the course of the Revolutionary War. Whereas, after General George Washington suffered defeat in New York in the fall of 1776, the Continental Army was forced to retreat across New Jersey and over the Delaware River to Pennsylvania, leaving Princeton occupied by British troops. And whereas Princeton would remain in British hands until General Washington led a surprise attack on the British and the Haitian mercenaries at the Battle of Trenton on December 26, 1776, swiftly followed by an assault on Princeton. And whereas Patriot troops defeated the British near Tom Clark's farmhouse, now Princeton Battlefield State Park, and forced them to make their final stand from Nassau Hall, the main building of the College of New Jersey. Whereas the British sought refuge, a Continental Artillery Regiment, led in part by Alexander Hamilton, fired cannonballs into the building, destroying a portrait of King George II and forcing the British to surrender. Whereas, legend has it, Alexander Hamilton himself fired the shot that would destroy the portrait of King George II at Nassau Hall, bolstering Hamilton's reputation and accelerating his rise through the ranks. And whereas the two battles of Trenton and Princeton would prove to be turning points in the Revolutionary War, demonstrating that the Continental Army was capable of defeating the British, encouraging Patriot soldiers to re-enlist, and paving the way for a vital alliance with France. And whereas for the remainder of the war, Princeton would be a critical supply depot and Nassau Hall an important military hospital, serving the Continental Army as they passed through for resupply and rest, including on the way to the Battle of Monmouth and the Battle of Yorktown, and treating injured soldiers from the Battle of Princeton and the Battle of Monmouth. And whereas, in the years that followed, Princeton was given the honor of serving as the seat of both the state and federal governments. with the General Assembly, Governor, and Continental Congress frequently meeting there, and was temporarily designated as the capital of the United States for several months in 1783. And whereas, at the close of the war, General Washington established his final wartime headquarters near Princeton at Rockingham House, and whereas, while at Rockingham House, he summarized Princeton's meaningful place in the history of the Revolutionary War, the prosperous situation of our public affairs, the flourishing state of this place, and the revival of the seat of literature from the ravages of war increased to the highest degree, the pleasure I feel in visiting at the return of peace and the scene of our important military transactions, and in recollecting the period when the tide of adversity began to turn and better fortune smiled upon us, he said. And whereas it is thus fitting and proper for this House to use this occasion of the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence to celebrate the role of Princeton in the founding of our nation and to recognize the challenges endured by the people of Princeton in pursuit of freedom. And now, therefore, be it resolved, the General Assembly of the State of New Jersey celebrates the role of Princeton University, and the surrounding area in the American Revolution, and honors the many sacrifices made by residents of the area during the Revolutionary War. And copies of this resolution, as filed with the Secretary of State, shall be transmitted by the clerk to the General Assembly, to the Mayor of Princeton, and to the President of Princeton University. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Receiving the resolution is Princeton Mayor Mark Frieda. Mayor. Mayor, do you want to say something? Guess not. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Resolution on the clerk's desk.
Resolution commemorating the consciential pieces of legislation enacted in this state between 1976 and 1826. I'm sorry, 1776 and 1826.
Assemblyman Varelli and Assemblywoman Swain.
Sorry.
Good afternoon. Assembly resolution commemorating consequential pieces of legislation enacted in this state between 1776 and 1826. Whereas on July 2nd, 1776, 2 days before the Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence, the Provincial Congress of New Jersey met in Burlington and adopted the first Constitution of the state of New Jersey, which established a framework for representative government that would guide the newly independent state. And whereas the 1776 Constitution created a bicameral legislative consisting of a legislative council and a general assembly, and vested the powers to make the laws of the state, and these bodies meeting jointly as the state legislature. And whereas following the adoption of this Constitution, and the first free election held for the members of the legislature in this state, the legislature convened for the first session on August 27, 1776, at the Nassau Hall at the College of New Jersey in Princeton, making it one of the oldest continuous legislative bodies in the United States. And whereas the first legislature faced the extraordinary challenge of establishing a functioning government while the state served as a principal battleground of the Revolutionary War, with legislators forced to relocate multiple times between Princeton, Burlington, Trenton, and other locations to avoid British occupation. And whereas in the earliest legislative sessions, held between 1776 and 1783, the legislature established the foundations of legislative procedure and enacted laws relevant for the time, including numerous wartime measures, such as the raising of a militia for the common defense, supply requisitions to support the Continental Army, loyalty oath requirements for public officials and citizens, and legislation to confiscate property from those who remained loyal to the British Crown. And whereas New Jersey's 1776 Constitution contained liberal suffrage provisions for its era, granting the right to vote to all inhabitants who met certain property requirements, which allowed unmarried women and free African Americans who met the property qualifications to exercise the franchise in New Jersey's elections. making New Jersey unique among the original states in this regard. And whereas, however, in 1807, the legislature passed an act to regulate the election of members of the Legislative Council and General Assembly, sheriffs, and coroners in this state, which explicitly limited voting rights to white male citizens who met property or tax-paying requirements, thereby disenfranchising all women and all men of color who had previously exercised the right to vote under the more inclusive 1776 Constitution, representing a significant regression in the democratic participation. And whereas in 1804, the legislature enacted an act for the general abolition of slavery, representing a significant moral commitment to ending slavery in New Jersey, albeit through a gradual process that freed no enslaved person immediately, but instead provided that the children born to enslaved mothers after July 4th, 1804, would be free after serving terms of apprenticeship, making New Jersey the last northern state to pass gradual emancipation legislation and the last northern state where slavery remained, as a small number of elderly enslaved persons were still held under the apprenticeship system into the 1860s. And
whereas, while the legislators of that era did succumb to these moral failures, the legislature did develop institutional frameworks that improved processes and paved the way for better legislation that would follow. And whereas the legislature established a state treasury, a court system, and school districts, and provided for economic development initiatives, anti-poverty programs, and infrastructure projects that would transform New Jersey into an economic powerhouse for generations. And whereas the legislature also designated Trenton as the permanent capital of New Jersey, ending years of meeting in more sporadic locations and providing governmental stability by establishing a fixed seat of government centrally located and accessible to all the state's inhabitants. And whereas, of particular significance, the New Jersey legislature unanimously ratified the United States Constitution on December 18, 1787, making New Jersey the third state to do so, and became the first state to ratify the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the United States Constitution on November 20th, 1789, setting the precedent for the state's commitment to fundamental civil liberties, which we reaffirm today. And whereas it is appropriate that as we begin to commemorate the 250th anniversary of our state and our nation's founding, the current state legislature recognizes and reflects upon these consequential pieces of legislation and the complete historical record of the state's foundational period, acknowledging both the achievements and shortcomings of our legislative predecessors, and understanding that honest recognition of both historical progress and injustice provides essential perspective on the ongoing struggle to fulfill the promise of equal rights and representative government. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the General Assembly of the State of New Jersey, this House commemorates the many consequential pieces of legislation enacted in this state between 1776 and 1826, commits to learning from both the achievements and shortcomings of legislative predecessors, and reaffirms a sacred commitment to work tirelessly for the betterment of this great state and for the people who have the tremendous honor to call New Jersey their home. And number 2, copies of this resolution, as filed with the Secretary of State, shall be transmitted by the Clerk of the General Assembly to the Governor and the New Jersey Historical Commission.
All
Those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Consul General, we're going to work on getting you some of that property that we confiscated back 250 years ago. Bill, a resolution on the clerk's desk.
Resolution celebrating the role New Jersey played in the American Revolution.
Assemblyman Kinitra, also a member of the Historical Commission, and Assemblyman Danielson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Whereas New Jersey played an instrumental role in the fight for freedom throughout the course of the American Revolution, even before the colonies formally declared their independence from Great Britain. And whereas throughout the Revolution, it was not only the Continental Army that endured conflict in New Jersey, but also the state's militia, the newly formed state government, and the people of New Jersey. And whereas it was because of the persistence and perseverance of this collective that British loyalists were rooted out and the British redcoats were unable to establish a lasting foothold in the state. And whereas the new democratically elected state government, not the king, maintained all civilian authority over the state's people, thereby creating a stable base in which the Continental Army could operate. And whereas throughout 1774, in early acts of defiance to British tyranny, New Jerseyans held 3 distinct tea parties in protest of the Tea Act at Princeton, Sandy Hook, and Greenwich. And whereas following the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the first public reading of the document outside of Philadelphia was proudly held in Trenton on July 8, 1776, as the state embraced the movement for independence. And whereas, as war became inevitable, New Jersey became central to the spy network of both soldiers and civilians established by General Washington, with intelligence being collected and shared along pathways between New York and Philadelphia. And whereas in late 1776, General George Washington retreated across New Jersey from New York to Princeton, while Alexander Hamilton provided covering artillery fire, earning Hamilton the respect and recognition of Washington for the very first time. And whereas after retreating and reorganizing in Pennsylvania, General Washington led the now famous crossing of the Delaware River on Christmas Day, 1776, delivering a resounding defeat to the Hessian troops camped for the winter at Trenton and shifting momentum to the Patriot cause. And
whereas Patriot troops rode this momentum as they pushed onwards to Princeton, recapturing the town in what would become a turning point of the war. And whereas in June of 1778, New Jersey was the site of the longest single day of fighting in the war, as the Continental Army developed new training, weapons, and tactics at the Battle of Monmouth, demonstrating an ability to match the British forces in the field and marking the end of the British campaign for Philadelphia. And whereas such success at the Battle of Monmouth led General George Washington to call for the first federally recognized Independence Day, celebrated with cannon fire and musket salute on the banks of the Raritan River near present-day New Brunswick, New Jersey, July 4th, 1778. Whereas the events at Trenton, Princeton, and Monmouth, while critical, only represent 3 of the more than 600 battles and skirmishes fought in New Jersey in the course of the Revolution. And whereas throughout the entire conflict, Morristown earned informal status as the military capital of the Revolution, serving as the winter campground for General Washington and the Continental Army, including during the coldest days of a bitter winter in 1779 and 1780. And whereas the strategic location of Morristown afforded the Continental Army natural fortifications, supplies, and a vantage point from which to observe British troop movements around New York City. And whereas it was from Morristown that General Washington led the long march to Yorktown, Virginia, concealed by the natural landscape of New Jersey's interior, where Patriot and French troops surrounded the British, bringing the war for American independence to a near close in 1781. And whereas this history demonstrates that New Jersey Its resources and its brave and enterprising people were integral to the success of the American Revolution. And whereas, as American independence enters its 250th year and people across the country and state begin to reflect on the pivotal moments and events at that time through public celebrations, educational programs, and initiatives such as Revolution New Jersey, it is fitting and proper for the legislature to recognize the rich history of this state in advancing the cause of freedom in the face of tyranny. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the General Assembly of the State of New Jersey, this House proudly recognizes and celebrates the role that New Jersey and its people played in the American Revolution. And copies of this resolution, as filed by the Secretary of State, shall be transmitted by the Clerk of the General Assembly to the Governor and the New Jersey Historical Commission.
All those in favor? No. All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Resolution on the clerk's desk.
Resolution honoring the unsung efforts of New Jerseyans in the American Revolution.
Assemblywoman Reynolds Jackson and Assemblywoman Flynn.
We present an Assembly resolution honoring the unsung efforts of New Jerseyans in the American Revolution.
Whereas although popular accounts of the Revolutionary War in New Jersey focus on the famous set-piece battles in New Jersey, such as the battles of Trenton, the Battle of Princeton, and Monmouth, and the actions of such military commanders and signers of the Declaration of Independence from New Jersey, many lesser-known New Jerseyans also contributed in significant ways to the American Revolution and victory.
Whereas one such person, Samuel Suffin, an enslaved person from Reddington Township, who enlisted in a place of his enslaver in exchange for the promise of freedom and served illustriously in the Continental Army, including in the Battle of Long Island. And whereas when Suffin's enslaver reneged on the deal and the federal government denied him a pension, Suffin purchased his own freedom and petitioned the governor and the state legislature for a state pension, which was granted in 1836. And whereas another enslaved person, known to history only as Prime, escaped from his enslaver, Abson Bainbridge, a prominent Princeton loyalist, and came under charge of Jacob Bergen, a commissioner from Somerset County, who advised Prime to join the Continental Army as a pathway toward freedom. And whereas Prime served as a wagoner in the Continental Army for 5 years, and following his service, petitioned the state legislature for his emancipation, which he officially received in 1786.
And whereas Oliver Cromwell from Burlington County was a free black man who enlisted in the second, okay, good for you, Burlington County's here, Continental Regiment, crossed the Delaware River with General Washington and fought in the battles of Trenton, Princeton, Monmouth, and Yorktown. And whereas Cromwell was awarded the Badge of Merit for 6 years of honorable service and proudly proclaimed that he held the occupation of a drummer in the Revolution until his death.
Whereas Hannah Caldwell of Elizabethtown, and now Elizabeth, is widely recognized as the first woman who died in the Revolutionary War in New Jersey, having been shot by the British soldier while she and her 2 young children hid out, keeping guard of their home during the Battle of Springfield and Connecticut Farms. And whereas as news of Caldwell's murder spread, outrage grew, and the patriot cause in New Jersey was energized. And whereas Caldwell has since been immortalized as the scene of her death is portrayed in the seal of Union County, honoring her service to the cause and her sacrifice.
And whereas Mary Ludwig Hayes, who was born just a few miles from Trenton, became the main inspiration for the legend of Molly Pitcher.
after she carried a wounded soldier to safety and took over her husband's cannon when he became wounded, continuing to fire at the enemy in the face of their advance at the Battle of Monmouth. And whereas these acts were recognized by the regiment, who began to call her Sergeant Molly, and it is said that General Washington himself issued her a warrant as a non-commissioned officer out of respect for her service.
Whereas Patient Love Wright, who was one of the most celebrated wax sculptors of her time, used her talents to collect sensitive information from the British military and political figures that commissioned her sculptures and passed that information on to the revolutionary leaders, including Benjamin Franklin.
And whereas Hannah White Arnott of Elizabethtown, oh no, I didn't say it again. Okay, also exhibited courage and moral fortitude in the face of the enemy when British General Charles Cornwallis captured Elizabeth after the Battle of Fort Lee. And whereas Arnett convinced a group of prominent citizens to refuse Cornwallis' demand that all residents of the town declare loyalty to the British Crown, going so far as to threaten to leave her husband if he did not maintain his support for the American Revolution. And whereas when Arnett was subsequently denied recognition by the Sons of the American Revolution, a group of Arnett's supporters decided to found a new organization, the Daughters of the American Revolution, which continues to recognize the events of patriotic women to this day. And whereas at Arnett's final resting place at the First Presbyterian Church in Elizabeth, an inscription reads, "Near here rest Hannah White Arnott." Her patriotic words, uttered in the dark days of 1776, summoned discouraged men to keep Elizabethtown loyal to the cause of the American independence.
Where it is thus fitting and proper for this House to honor the efforts of these and other lesser-known New Jerseyans who demonstrated the utmost courage, honor, and selflessness in supporting the American Revolution. And now be it resolved by the General Assembly of the State of New Jersey. The General Assembly honors the efforts made by lesser-known New Jerseyans in support of the American Revolution and encourages the citizens of New Jersey to use the occasion of the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence to learn more about their local historical figures. Copies of this resolution as filed with the Secretary of State shall be transmitted by the Clerk of the General Assembly to the New Jersey State Society Daughters of the American Revolution and the New Jersey Historical Society and the New Jersey Historical Commission and the Afro-American Historical and Cultural Society Museum. Thank you so much.
All those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. I'm sure everyone's happy to hear we've reached the halfway point. We've reached the conclusion of our 250th commemorative session. I want to take this opportunity to thank Lieutenant Governor Caldwell for being with us, Adjutant General Mays, Consulate General Christian, and especially the people at Princeton. Mr. President, thank you for letting us be in this magnificent space, in this incredibly special room. It has truly been a privilege. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. To all the members of the Assembly and to the Senate for being here, thank you very much. For everyone who was kind enough to come and to share in this really special and a wonderful event, thank you. I'll make a motion to reconvene in 2276 in this same room. But until then, routine business. Thank you all very much.